Hello guys, welcome to UPSC Gangsters. This is Shobna Pandit and let's just get into the editorial of today. The first editorial talks about our labor market, India's labor market, okay? So how is India's labor market? He has said that it is highly segmented, okay? There is a huge labor market and it is highly segmented, okay? So how do we actually categorize this particular huge labor market we have in India? See, if we have to just put them into three broad or minimum categories or minimum demographic groups, we can get three, okay? Three different demographic groups. If you don't know what is demography, see, let's take an example of Maharashtra, okay? See, in Maharashtra, like how many people are there who are women? How many children are there? How many people are working? How many people are not working? How many people are old? You know, these kind of numbers, na? That is only demographics, okay? That the number of population. Demographics is the information in numbers that you get on the population, about the population. How much of the population is doing what, okay? Belongs to which category. Now that is the demographics, okay? So according to the demographics, if we are going to categorize the market, that is the labor market of India, into three particular groups, what will they be? I'll tell you. The first group will be the young population who are educated and people who are looking for jobs. What is that? They are educated, they are young people, and they are looking for jobs. So this is the first category, which is formed according to a demography, demographics, okay? The second group is the agricultural workers, okay? Agricultural workers, they are sad, right? See, they are, because there is no guarantee as to they'll get the returns or the income, because there'll be flood, there'll be inundation, suddenly there'll be drought, there'll be failed monsoons, and because of all that, the crop failure happens so often. So people who are working in agriculture are not really insured, and many are looking into changing their jobs, okay? So this is the second category according to the demographics, okay? So I told you the first one is the young population who is looking for job, who is educated. The second one is the people who are engaged in agriculture, who want to change their jobs, okay? The third one is women, okay? Women who are looking for jobs, who are educated, much more educated than what they were before, okay? They form the third group. Now three groups I told you: young people who want to work, the second one agricultural workers who don't want to work there, who want to change their jobs, and the third one is the women who are more educated than before, who are looking for jobs, okay? These are the three broad categories we can put the labor market of India in, okay? Now let's just move on to the next problem that we have. India is no doubt one of the fastest growing economy in the world. We are indeed growing really fast. But there are many lows in the Indian economy. Okay, so what are those lows? Point number one, okay, the investment that is happening inside India is very low. The second one is that the agricultural growth in India is also very low. The third one is PLF, that is the plant load factor, that is also extremely low. The fourth one is capacity utilization, that's also very low. Now you'll be wondering, what is capacity utilization? What is power load factor, right? Don't worry, it's all simple, just learn, okay? I'll tell you what is capacity utilization with the help of an example. Let's take a car company. Okay, in the car company, the capacity or it really can make 100 cars, okay? Let's assume that it has the capacity to make 100 cars, but then how much is it producing? It manufactures only 60 cars. So what happens here is the capacity is 100 cars, but then it makes only 60 cars, okay? So this is low capacity utilization of that particular industry or company, okay? So that is capacity utilization for you. That is how much you're capable of producing versus how much have you produced, okay? Now, coming to the power load factor, what is PLF? That is also a very similar concept, which is like the capacity utilization. The difference is that you take it for a particular period of time and you see the average of capacity utilization. Okay, the average of capacity utilization is called as the plant load factor, or the PLF. So you know what is PLF, you know what is capacity utilization. So both are low in Indian economy. Then we have the agricultural growth, that is also low. Then investment inside India is also very low. So these are the lows of India, faced by India. Though we are a fast growing economy, these are areas in which we are lacking. Okay. Now, let's see another issue. See, what's happening here is that a healthy economy anywhere in the world, if you take an economy to be healthy, it means that the production through the manufacturing industries, the manufacturing industry production has to be high. Okay, the manufacturing industry of a particular economy or a country has to be really high to make it prosper, or say that it is healthy. And that is really lacking in India, because services sector is doing good. Okay, in our country, services sector is really nice. To tell you in the very normal terms, what is services sector? The services that we lend, like logistics. Logistics are the vehicles which transport things like tempos and lorries, you know, the courier service, and all these things are services industry. Okay, so in that we are very good. There are many more things which comes under services industry, and India is good at it. But for a healthy economy, for a healthy country's economy, what you need to grow is the manufacturing industry, where India is lacking. Okay, that is the next point that you have to know. Then coming to the other one. So what has the government done for this, to tackle the situation, to create more jobs, for job creation? What did our country do? So, see, the government has opted for policies, you know, different governmental policies are made for the past 18 months. For nearly 1.5 years, the government has been concentrating on policies which promote infrastructure. So what is infrastructure? Anything that is needed for, better production, like the buildings that are involved, the machines that we utilize, these kind of stuff are called as the infrastructure. Infrastructure of a school is what? All the benches that we have, the proper buildings that are made for the schools. These are all infrastructure. The labs that we have, all these are the infrastructure of a school. So for any institution, if you take for its running, for it to just go up and running, the stuff that you need right from the buildings, all these are called as the infrastructure. Okay, so on the infrastructure, the government has made policies to make major investments and to make it better. Okay, so that is what our government has been doing for the past 18 months, nearly 1.5 years. This has been done. Okay, so we know that the government has been investing in infrastructure for the past 18 months, that is 1.5 years. Okay, so apart from that, what can we do? What can the government do to improve the jobs? Okay, the number of jobs, or for job creation, what can be done? The first one is we really need an industrial policy. Okay, we never had a proper industrial policy. Now, thank God, we have the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, which is DIPP, right? And that is coming out with a policy for manufacturing or industrial policy. Okay, it is already preparing one, so that is a very good thing. So any issue, I told you, we have to do it in entirety. That is how the editorials really help us, because they deal with the situation which is there right now, they compare it to the situation which was existing before, and they will also come out with the remedy or something which can be done to just cure the existing situation. Okay, so now we're talking about the job creation. What was the situation of jobs before the industrial policy? What was the situation of the industrial policy, the plight of the industrial policy before in the 1990s? Okay, let's see 1991. This was the year when the Indian economy was opened. Okay, so this is when the economic reforms happened. So it's very important from that time, that is from 1990, nearly 20 years, okay, till 2011, there was absolutely no industrial or manufacturing policy at all. Okay, so this is a clear fact that you have to know. So nearly 20 years after the opening of the economy in 1991, there was absolutely no policy for industries or manufacturing. Okay, in 2011, the government came up with something called as the industrial policy, but then it was not able to implement it. Okay, so in 2011, what happened after 20 years? What happened is they came out with an industrial policy, but they were not able to implement. Now then what happened? While the 12th five-year plan, when it started, that is 2012 to 2017, the UPA government wanted to do the implementation of the industrial policy, but then the whole government, that is the UPA government, went through a paralysis of policy. Policy paralysis happened. Paralysis is what? Like your body doesn't work, right? So when it's policy paralysis, it just means that the policy was not being put to practice. It was not implemented properly at all. So that happened. Then see, in the 1990s, the problem, let's just see what exactly the problem was in the 1990s. Okay, the biggest problem was the inverted duty structure. Okay, inverted duty structure. So what is inverted duty structure? Let me give you an example and explain it. See, when let's take steel production. Okay, steel manufacture. For manufacturing steel, the raw material that you need is iron. Okay, so you have to import iron from other countries inside India to make steel. Many other products also are made like this only, because we have a lot of raw materials which are imported into our country to make a finished product. Okay, so here the raw material that we are using is iron to make the finished product, which is steel. Now what happens in an inverted duty structure is that the raw material tax or the duty on the raw material will be higher than the duty or the tax which is put on the finished good or product. Okay, let me repeat. What is inverted duty structure? It is the tax or the duty which is put on the imported item, which is a raw material. When the raw material is being charged or being taxed or being put duty which is more than the finished product imported,
okay, so
this is called
the
as
problem
the
of inverted duty structure has to be solved, right? That is taxing the finished goods for much less when compared to taxing or putting the duty on the raw material. So this is one big problem that is being faced, and that's why the jobs are not created, isn't it? For job creation, we have to look into the matter of inverted duty structure. So now, see, let me tell you certain things that happened. Like the FICCI, okay, FICCI was something that actually pointed out this problem way before in 2014 itself. Okay, so what is FICCI? FICCI? It is the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Okay, so FICCI actually found out and pointed out that this problem is one of the most serious problems that we have to tackle it. Okay, and they even said that the industries which are facing this inverted duty structure are the steel industry, the aluminium industry, the capital goods industry, the electronics industry, etc. Okay, so they pinpointed and said that these are the problems which are happening, which have to be addressed to solve the issue of job creation. Okay, so this happened. Now let's just take some two examples of the industries. Like for one, the automobile industry. Okay, automobile industry in the last 10 years, that is 1 decade, has actually been growing. How come? Because the automobiles industry did not have the inverted duty structure issue. Okay, so the automobile industry did not have this issue. It did not have the problem. Hence, it was flourishing. Okay, in fact, in the past 10 years, that is in 1 decade, the automobile industry of India has really become one of the largest industries in the whole world also. So it's doing really well, which has given many vehicles to the world. Okay, so now let's just have an example of another one, which is the electronics industry. Okay, electronic industry, like actually government tried to help it and it was going bad, but government intervened and changed some norms. Okay, it made some changes and now electronics manufacture is going good. So you know about two different industries, and the issue of inverted duty structure has to be solved to make more job creations available for the Indian people, right? This is one. Now let's see the second issue. Okay, second issue is that See, the labor intensive industries. What is a labor intensive industry? The industry which depends on a lot of manual labor. Okay, too much of labor is required. For example, we can take the wood industry or the furniture industry. Okay, and there are textile industries which uses a lot of manual labor, right? And even leather tanneries. Leather industry requires a lot of manual labor. So all these industries are called as labor intensive industries. So these industries must be given special packages by the government. Okay, this is another idea which the author of this particular editorial is giving to solve the existing job creation problem. Okay, so what is happening is, like, certain industries, like for example, if we take the apparel and clothing industry, okay, if we take that, the government actually helped by giving a package. Okay, so because of that it has survived. But then what happens to the other industries which are labor intensive? That was not helped by the government yet. Okay, it has been completely ignored. So the suggestion or idea here is that the government has to give special packages to the labor intensive industries like leather industry, wooden furniture industry, and etc. Okay, let's move on to the next suggestion or idea given by the editorial author for the job creation. Okay, the first the stuff is like about the unorganized sector in India. So what is the unorganized sector? Unorganized sector, the best example I can give you, construction workers, right, who work for daily wages. It's not like they have a bank account, they have everything sorted out, they have pensions and everything. It's not like that. They just come, probably work for 50 rupees or 100 rupees per day, they'll collect and go. Okay, small work which is just not organized. That is why it is called as unorganized sector. Okay, and in India, the unorganized sector workers are mostly working in MSMEs. Okay, so what is MSME? The MSMEs are micro and small and medium enterprises. So as the name suggests, you know, it is all small enterprises. Okay, small companies, like something that will make agarbattis and incense and all that. So these are those industries we're talking about. Okay, so these guys are, there is a trend here which is very important. Just note this. Okay, they tend to be concentrated in specific geographical locations. Okay, so there is a trend here in India where the unorganized sector workers, okay, first of all, they are working in the MSMEs, that is micro and small or medium enterprises. They are all working there, and all of them are actually concentrated in particular places. Okay, in only certain areas you're able to find them working. You got that? Obviously there will be many reasons as to why they're working. Maybe you know, the location is really nice, you have the stuff which is necessary for their jobs, you know, that is why the industries are all over there, the small time industries, and that's why these guys are going and working there. Hence the concentration of all these workers, that is who are working in the unorganized sectors, happening in particular geographical locations in India. Okay, so now there is another statistic which you can quote for your mains answers. Listen to this and use it in your answers. There is 1350 modern industry clusters in India. Okay, there are 1350 modern industry clusters in India, and there are about 4000 traditional clusters in India. Okay, so the modern clusters, the modern cluster industry is 1350 in India, around 1350, and the traditional ones are around 4000. Okay, so what are the traditional ones? You yourself should be knowing, all honey making, agarbatti making kind of things, right? Handloom, handicrafts, etc. So these are all the traditional cluster industries. Now the MSMEs, there is there is the Ministry for MSME, right? So the Ministry of the MSME has developmental programs for these clusters, that is for sure. It is already there and happening. But then what's the problem? It is poorly funded. There is no much money to actually do what they intend to do. So that is the problem. So the design has to be made better, and better funding must be available for these MSME clusters, that is the micro and small or medium enterprises
They should have the clusters of them. They must have better funding. It should be designed better so that the